Ever found yourself in a linguistic conundrum, unsure whether to use ic or ical at the end of an adjective? It's a common challenge, even for the most seasoned wordsmiths. In the English language, the suffixes ic and ical often create adjectives, but knowing when to use which can be puzzling. The challenge is that there are no explicit rules that govern their usage. Some words can take either suffix interchangeably, although one might be more common than the other. Take, for instance, metaphorical and metaphoric. Both are correct, but metaphorical is more commonly used. Then there's the curious case of scientifical, a real word that's fallen into such disuse that it seems incorrect. These days, scientific is the preferred choice. Sometimes the two suffixes can create words with distinct meanings. A classic illustration of this is historic versus historical. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, both terms mean relating to history, concerned with past events. They also both mean having or likely to have great historical importance or fame. But here's where it gets interesting. In modern usage, historical and historic aren't considered synonyms. Historical is often used in the relating to history sense, while historic carries the nuance of great historical importance. Imagine you're talking about a historic moment. Most people would understand that you're referring to a moment that was so important or noteworthy that it made history. But if you mention a historical moment, people might assume you're referring to a moment that simply happened a long time ago. To add another layer of complexity, consider the debate over whether to say an historic moment versus a historic moment. This choice hinges on whether the H in historic is pronounced. Initially, a or an was used based on whether the H was silent. These days, the H is almost always pronounced, and using and before words is fading out. So, to sum up, while ic and ical can often be used interchangeably, in some cases, they carry distinct nuances. Historical typically refers to something relating to history, while historic suggests something of great historical importance. And while the choice between an historic moment and a historic moment is largely up to the speaker, it's worth noting the modern trend toward pronouncing the H and using a. Remember, language is a living thing, always evolving. As such, it's our role to navigate its complexities and subtleties, making the best choices we can to communicate clearly and effectively. In doing so, we continue the grand tradition of linguistic exploration, one word at a time.